but we'll be
Well,
all
it
right.
doesn't matter because we know that the final product is good. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Durindal HQ episode 3. We are still at that stage where I can keep track of the numbers. After a while, I won't be able to anymore. But welcome. If you're watching from the future, as you probably are, I'd like to say hello to you. You found this late, but maybe you're still early for something else and we might inspire you. If you're a competitor from the future, I'm sorry. You should have seen us coming. And if you're somebody from the present, we thank you for your support. We love you. And we hope that you find some value out of these conversations. Now, what are these conversations? It's me and my co-founder Garrath, basically most of Durindal at the moment, because you're currently a team of 3. Most of Durindal telling you the updates about what we see in the market, the things we notice, the things we are doing, and some, I'm not gonna call it building public, but it's documenting the process of building this company into something bigger than us. So, hello, brother.
Hey, how's it going, man? I
It's
think you
going
hit
good.
all. I
What do you
think you
say?
hit. I think you hit all the points there. We spoke to the lovers and the haters.
It's always for everybody. I mean, I'm gonna start hot. What are some lessons you learned last week? I learned a couple.
Get more sleep. Lesson number one: get more sleep. The whole like I'm gonna build till I die headspace is great for like 3 weeks, and then you actually need the sleep. So, you know, I'm big on this, honestly, because I think back to like my first business and I bought into that whole like, granted, I didn't have a family at the time either, but I bought into that whole I've got to work my ass off 18 hours a day. And I did that for like a whole year and a half, and that was just brutal. So now, like you and I were talking about this before, like, everybody knows me as like the friend or the guy that is disciplined and has routine and structure, but it's never really perfect. It's like that's the baseline I come back to when life gets a little crazy. Last few weeks for us has gotten a little bit of crazy where, you're staying up till midnight or 2 a.m., you're waking up a little bit later and like everything feels like it's off a little bit. Happens to all of us. That's just a fact of life. And I think we're both kind of in that like, hey, it's time to get back to baseline mode and kind of get things back in order in the sense that, you know, at least feel somewhat normal. It feels like the last month has just been a blur with just how many prospects we're talking to, clients that we're bringing on, and everything in between, all the stuff we have going on behind the scenes. So it's been a little bit of a blur, but in a good way.
Yes, I think I learned the same lesson. Unlike you, my body doesn't keep up 3 weeks before it tells me to stop.
Yeah.
We're doing this show that I'm still recovering from getting sick over the weekend, from staying awake till 2 a.m. Because the time zones are like, I should stop thinking I can operate 100% in an overseas time zone. So I just need to work around that, and I need to prioritize sleep. I neglected it and I paid for it. But then my performance just, I had to take time off, and I didn't want to. But what are you gonna do? That's what your body does when you don't listen to it. So it is really important. Like even still paying for it. Not tomorrow, I will not be able to work out because I'm still recovering, and today neither. So it hurts your routine. You need to be able to recover.
Yeah. Maybe that's what we can start this off with. Like, what's your routine for that kind of recovery?
Well, I have this bad habit that no matter how late I go, I will try to wake up at the same time. That's how I get sick. And what I do is I break that rule when I'm sick, meaning I put to recover, I just let my body sleep as much as it needs to.
Yeah.
And a lot of people shy away from meds. I will take Tylenol. I will take ibuprofen. I don't care. I will just take whatever my body needs to go to sleep properly and recover. I will, eat more protein. I will add more carbs to keep myself going because I feel that need. I don't eat that much fat when I'm sick, I noticed. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I try to up a bit my supplements, like zinc, vitamin D. I hyperdose those. And yeah, that's how I'm rolling right now for 2 days. And I try not to work out because I notice if I work out and I'm not fully recovered, I fall back into it.
Yeah. What's interesting is I feel like supplements, people shit on them, but I can think back to it's been a couple months since I was like taking my full regimen of like vitamin D, a scoop of greens, a scoop of reds, and like a multivitamin every day. And like just how much more mental energy I have. Even like 5-HTP with vitamin D is like a killer combo. I can't explain it because it's not like you don't have like caffeine type of energy. It's just more of a natural mental energy. But it's been a while since I've been doing that. And I don't know. I'm thinking maybe getting back on that train for sure.
I need to try that. I used to have a bigger supplement stack. I plan on going back to that. My family always make fun of me because, like an old man, you will find me in the morning, like chugging down my box of pills. But I do believe it makes a difference. People really shit on them, but it's underrated.
Yeah, that's why I'm like such a big believer in like just having a very simple diet. I'm down almost 40 pounds this year, and a lot of it wasn't, I mean, I've been working out my whole life, like really hard too. I've always kind of trained like an athlete, but just like getting a lot of the carbs out of my diet and focusing on just like upping my protein, healthy fats, fewer carbs. Like I have, I mean, my other than today, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, guys, I'm dragging ass today. It's just kind of like we were outside for our last baseball tournament all weekend. We signed up for one more at the last minute. And I was like, okay. So we had like 5 games this weekend, and I don't know, the heat just kicked my ass. I did have a good squat session today, though. I did like 8 sets of squats, and it was beautiful. But like sometimes for me, it's like even on a day like today where like I truly didn't feel like working out, like I'm totally cool with just checking the box, working out. Like I just like I mentally can't miss a day because that'll give me like anxiety around like for me that whole fitness and diet and eating well, like all of that is my anchor. And so it's like even if I'm sick, I'll work out, but I'll just do what I can do. I won't like try to push it and like work out super hard or anything. I might just do like a deload workout where maybe I put 135 on the bar, do a few sets of easy squats, few sets of easy bench press, like just really easy stuff to keep the body moving and keep the mind kind of engaged with all of that. But I don't know, man. I think we're getting so busy now. Like we're in that stage where we have to really figure out like how we maintain all of that. How do you maintain your anchors as the business is growing really fast and as like a lot of things are picking up? And because I think it's important. I think it's really important as a founder, you got to have some anchors because you see so many people that business grows like crazy, but then they lose their mental health, their physical health, their ability to be present at home and all these things. And it's like, you don't want to be one of those people either. That sounds a lot more miserable than trying to maintain some level of discipline um, and routine, at least in my opinion.
Agree. I mean, it might cost us money on the long run, meaning we will not scale to like 800 million a year, but we'll scale to 300 million a year because we give up some
Yeah.
business time to take care of ourselves, of the families. But I don't care. Meaning, I don't want to be the guy to gets to be the successful CEO, but then has to deal with a beer belly that just puts pressure on the heart, and then I got heart issues. Right? It's not even. It is. It is an aesthetic thing. It is a thing of looks, but it's also a thing of health. Like I'm not gonna jeopardize the longevity of our careers just so I can make more money in the short term. I'd rather take care of myself, which is, we are involved with that other company, Care, which is also like, it would be hypocritical of us being involved in a project like that and not taking care of ourselves.
Yeah, it would. It's funny you say that because I think this is like a conversation that nobody wants to have. And I've seen a lot of posts over the summer where, we talk about the outliers like Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos and all these people. And, it wasn't until they got to a certain level of wealth where they actually started taking care of themselves, right? And it's like now you see these founders or these CEOs like go through this 2-year transformation plan and I'm going to live forever. And the fact is, the damage is already done. There's no GLPs that are going to reverse all of that. There's no drugs, there's no lifestyle, there's no diet that's going to reverse the damage that's already done. And I like your point of view because I totally agree with it. If the difference is between making 100 million or making 50 million, but I get to keep my health and I get to keep my mental faculties and I don't have to spend my 50s trying to save myself an extra 5 years. Like, I'll take that all day long, quite honestly. It's, you
Same. I
know,
mean, it's when people tell me time is money, it's bullshit.
yeah,
Meaning, and now people will hear this and they will go, "Oh my god, look at him being all hippie and shit." It's not true because if time was money, there's no person in the world that I could give 20 million to and tell them, "Okay, you can get this money, but you only get to live till tomorrow," and they would take that deal. So time is not money. Time is insanely more valuable than money. So the more
yeah,
time we buy for ourselves in the future and the more healthy we are in that time, the better for me, even if it puts you in a position like, okay, oh my God, we are 20, 30% under our earning potential, which again, we're talking about tens of millions or hundreds of millions. Just because we're taking care of ourselves, it's fine. I'd rather have employees where we have like a big office and there is like a warehouse attached to it where they go to the gym in the morning and they tell me, hey boss, I'm late 20 minutes because I was took too long
yeah.
to do the last set of squats. I'm fine with that. I want a culture of people that perform, not just at work, but also personally.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you want. Like, it's interesting because coaching baseball, right? It's like I work with a lot of 8, 9, and 10-year-olds, and it's amazing how many of these kids can't run. And I literally mean like they can't run. They don't know how to run at like 10 years. Like you could tell they've never opened up and actually ran as fast as they could. And, you see some of the families and it's a bit disheartening because you're like, well, mom and dad don't take care of themselves. And the same thing happens in your culture as well. So much of cultures get put on like ping pong tables and pizza parties and, alignment sessions, like, or, going to corporate events, right? And like everybody just wants to go have a happy hour, things like that. And the people that don't want those things, it's almost like getting bashed for like being healthy because you truly are the outsider. Most people, like, I think, what is it, 20% of people work out 1 day a week, something like 3% of people work out, only like 3% of those people work out like 6 days a week. And I don't know, I've seen a lot of conversations, especially on like Twitter too, where there's this like, well, if you're like building something that's actually going to like endear, if you're building something that's going to be an outlier, you don't have time to take care of your health. I would almost bet that Mark Zuckerberg had or some of these other guys had every resource available to them to properly manage their health over the years, right? And we live in a society now where you're almost like demonized for being healthy. It's almost like if you're fit, there's a cohort of people that find ways to demonize that lifestyle. Or there's this negative connotation around discipline, right? That discipline equals like a lack of fun in life. When really, I think discipline is really understanding what truly gives you joy and going all in on those things that give you that joy and give you that energy to fulfill what you're trying to achieve in life. Because you see so many, like a friend of mine, God, I hope he doesn't see this. He's one of my best friends, and I don't have to mention him by name, and they're going to know exactly who they are. But I remember when I hired Allie, and Allie is our client with Bod Care. She's a friend and a client, honestly. And what she's building is truly revolutionary in helping workforces improve the overall state of health and well being for their employees and for their partners. And I remember, when I first hired Allie to help me, get things dialed in for me. And, I told one of my best friends about it. Like, yeah, man, I'm like meal prepping right now, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, let's get it, dude. Like, let's get in the best shape of our lives this year. And then on like Sunday, he's like, oh, well, we're out in Miami on the boat drinking and having a good time for the 4th. I was just like, dude, you didn't even last a week. And the pull there is it's like, most people look at it and it's like, well, it's the 4th. I'm supposed to celebrate and get drunk and like all these things. And it's like, but at some point, man, like you got to have like a 2 or 3 year window where you go all in on you. And that might mean, maybe I don't show up to that party because I know that it's going to pull me off my path and I'm going to have to reset. Because below the surface with all of this is you building trust and credibility with yourself. And that's what discipline really is. It's building trust, credibility, and confidence with yourself that I am who I say I am. And it's a reminder to yourself that I follow through on the things that I say I'm going to do. And that doesn't mean that you're perfect. There's so many days where, I've got my 6 habits to win the day. There's so many days. Am I getting the like thumbs up bubbles? There's so many days where I only hit 3 or 4 out of the 6 on that list. But over time, it's created this like, okay, I'll get the 6 tomorrow, and I might not get the 6 tomorrow. But it's creating this baseline standard of no matter how busy life gets or no matter what headspace I'm in, I'm at least performing at this level, which is higher than 80 or 90% of society.
Dude, I had a conversation a couple months ago with somebody. I'm meeting again on Wednesday. And again, same as you, I'm not going to say who this is. But this person tells me, oh, well, I don't think that you should work so hard. In my business, I am optimizing for like enjoyment or some stuff like that, or optimizing for life balance, some shit like that. And I respect that view, but at the same time, depends on what you want to build. As much as I don't believe that we need to sacrifice everything, even health, to grow this business, I also don't believe that we can afford to optimize for fun or enjoyment. Meaning, last week was not enjoyable, right?
Yeah.
But it's still a blessing that we get to stay awake until 2 a.m. instead of working for somebody else. So it's not
Oh, yeah.
enjoyable, and wasn't sick. It's not enjoyable. But and if we turn this into a clip, I'm not gonna post it, but because then that person is gonna know I'm talking about them. The thing is, if you optimize for fun, I mean, you and I have Durindal. It's a handful. We have Botcare. It will be a handful. I'm involved in a third company that sometimes I support equity in that. Easy, but still requires at least one weekly meeting. So if we would never build Durindal. Let's put it this way: if you're watching from the future, when Durindal will be a 250 people company, we got there because we didn't optimize for enjoyment and fun and balance. The growing season of anything is a season on imbalance, and as Garrath was saying, we have this thing that anchors. Our health is one of our anchors, and we don't give that up. But everything else can be quite imbalanced actually, because we need to go all in, and we've been going all in, and we will keep going all in. But I don't think you
Yeah.
can optimize for fun in business if you hope to build something big.
Yeah. It's interesting because I would bet that most of my friends, what was I reading yesterday? There was a good quote around like, you know, your friends and the people you do business with are often have to be two totally different groups of people. And now we just happen to be good friends that started a business together. But I think we were able to do that because there's that shared vision of like, I'm ready to just be all in for 5 or 10 years. And that doesn't mean like, oh, you skipped vacations and stuff like that. It's just my mind isn't wrapped around like we got to get out to 5 vacations this year. We got to go, keep up with the Joneses. I think part of being an entrepreneur is again, that balanced lifestyle mantra comes out of the hesitation to truly go all in. And realistically, to set the foundation for what we're trying to build, it's going to take, three really, it's going to take 3 really good years. It's going to take, really getting this up and running to the point where it's like, I think for me personally, and I think back to when I had my cushy corporate job making $200,000 a year, and I'm on vacation with my family out in Joshua Tree, which is like one of the most beautiful places on earth, by the way. And I'm out there and like all I can think about is like, yes, this vacation is nice, but this isn't what I wanted. Like I want the vacations, but like I don't feel like I'm doing the thing I really want to do. And I had to get real with myself on what is it actually going to take to do that. And when I remember going to Olivia and basically being like, hey, if we do this, we go down this road, means we might not be going on a bunch of vacations for 2 or 3 years. We might only go on one instead of 5 or 6. All right. It might mean that like we just rock with some used cars for a while. We stay in the small house in the small town in order to preserve our capital and preserve our cash flow and really make these things, these dreams that we want to build happen. And I think if I think for both of us, I don't want to speak for you, but I've been wanting to do this since I was 12 years old, right? Like this isn't something that just came on a whim. It was like ingrained in who I am. And you just get to a point in life where it's either put up or shut up time. Like either you're going to make it happen or you're not. And, so many people I know, it's like, oh, well, we're going to save up our money for 15 or 20 years and we'll go make it happen. And, you know, this, that, or the other. And they'll apply the logic of, you know, saving their money, investing in their 401k, et cetera, and eventually having the nest egg. It's like, you think you're going to be ready to take a risk when you have the, $500,000, $750,000 house, 2 car payments, and 2 college tuitions you got to pay for? That's when you think you're going to be ready for the risk. Like you have really such a short window of opportunity in life to actually go all in for 3 to 5 years and go make that thing happen. And I'm a big believer, you got to take advantage of the opportunity within the lifetime of the opportunity. This freaking thumbs up bubble is killing me. Can you see it on your end?
I can.
I've never
You,
seen
you,
it
you have
before.
to
It's never
deactivate.
done it.
I don't know if you have it on your screen, but on top of mine, I see the green FaceTime icon. If you
No,
click on that, okay, if you click on that, you can deactivate reactions. But if I activate it, it does the same thing, and you can have like balloons and stuff.
there we go. All right, I deactivated it. That's hilarious. I'm like,
Perfect.
they keep doing this. It's never done it. But
But yeah, regarding the market, what have you noticed in the last week that we haven't talked about? From my end, we already touched upon last week this urgent needs founders have to learn sales, and they have nobody to teach them because most they cannot relate to most sales trainers because they are just sales
yeah,
guys that don't have the personalities they feel like they could learn from. But I'm here thinking, is there anything you have noticed recently more from the B2B side? Because I have something in mind and it just escaped me. I just trying to bring it back.
yeah. I think honestly, just out of a lot of the conversations I've had, is I think there's a lot of people living in, almost their day-to-day life and their job is circling the wagons of ambiguity. And I think a lot of companies accept that as a way to operate. But really what it is a lack of leadership and a lack of command. And, you're always going to have some of that at the founder level, especially, if you're $0 to $10 million and you don't really have the capital to hire the resources to truly offload a lot of the work and really build your systems and structure and build some rhythm in the business. But, I was talking to this customer success, this head of customer success at a startup in San Francisco last week. And we started talking a lot about how leadership has evolved or the need for leadership has evolved, yet it isn't. And we started talking about middle out leadership, what that looks like, why it's important, giving employees on the front line agency to make critical business decisions. And the whole conversation was revolved around RevOps and go to market strategy. There's still this like over reliance on dashboards and reports and systems to a point where I think a lot of leadership teams have lost the ability, or at least not even leadership teams, but a lot of companies have lost their ability to leverage their gut instincts to truly drive innovation. And when I talk about innovation, I'm not talking about like something you see in the news. Innovation could be something small that doesn't really have a huge impact today, but compounds and compounds and compounds into something much bigger in the future. And so I'd like to think that a lot of companies are using AI to sharpen their edge, but in a lot of cases, I think AI is being overused and it's dulling people's edge. It's kind of taking away those gut instincts that make businesses great.
I agree. That's a good perspective. I do wonder, I saw a post today, somebody claiming that AI will replace customer success people. Does customer success only come down to answering? questions and answers only to data? I don't think so. Customers seek an experience. I don't think AI can give you, at least right now, an experience. So I do agree AI will replace a lot of jobs, but I don't see us replacing. I see it will reduce the need for a lot of people in those roles, but I don't see how AI will replace sales and customer success. This brings me to the topic of relationships. As you know,
Yeah.
Camila is cold calling, right?
Yeah.
We had today, and me being sick, I'm happy those meetings got canceled. I wasn't gonna cancel them on my own because that's just who I am. But Camila has been cold calling. Today, one of the meetings gets canceled, and the guy requests, "Can you move it to next week, same time?" I do so. He replies back, "Thank you, but what is this meeting about?" So I reach out back to Camila, like, "Hey, what did you tell the guy that got him interested in the first place?" Just so I know what to reply to him. She tells me, and he goes, "Well, thank you, but upon checking your company once again, I don't feel like we need to have the meeting because we're not ready to buy now." And that's when I deploy some SWOT, and I told him, I labeled him via email, by the way. And I went, "It sounds like you're used to companies pitching you during the first call. Honestly, that's just not our MO, because I will not pitch you before even knowing if you have any problem. So if you're up to it, I'm still down to having the call, because for us, those calls turn into great relationships over time, even though you're not ready to buy, it doesn't matter." Now, that little interaction turned a "no, thank you, we will not buy from you" to "okay, sounds good." And he accepted the invitation. So this is the little nuance that AI will never get.
Yeah.
Meaning, a system will declare that closed. Case the recipient say no. The human approach is he say no, but why? Because he feels threatened by the fact that we want to pitch him something. I don't know if he has budget or not. I don't care, because I don't know if he has a problem now. But all it took was, "Hey, it sounds like you're used to a different thing. We do it differently. We treat you like a person."
Yeah.
And that's what got him over the line. So the human aspect is still so important, which brings me to how relevant the sales methodology is right now.
Yeah. It's funny is it reminds me of that conversation I had with that VP of sales last week at a major distribution company. And, when I reached out to her, listen, I don't have like budget authority. I'm not looking to buy anything. I said, hey, listen, like I'm just trying to have a coffee chat. I like doing these because it keeps me like fully in tune with what's actually going on in the market, what's actually happening at the front lines. And, we scheduled a 20-minute coffee chat, ended up being an hour and a half long. And it was an amazing conversation just talking about like how leadership is evolving, how go-to-market's evolving, the struggles with marketing to adapt to like what their role really needs to be in today's world and in today's marketing environment. And ended up being an amazing conversation. She literally texted me her phone number like right after, like, I would love to do this again. And she was like super hesitant in the beginning. And the thing is when she got off the call, she was like, you know what, Garrath? She's like, this is one of the best like calls I've had in a while. And she goes, who do you, and we were talking about relationships. And she goes, we don't have a marketing team or anything like that. And she goes, there's going to come a point where we need to outsource some of that. And she goes, who do you think I'm going to call now? And I go, selfishly, I hope it's going to be us. Right. But it just goes to prove like you go into those situations without an agenda. You go into those situations truly trying to understand people, their perspectives. A lot of people just want to be heard. They just want to feel like somebody truly understands what the hell they're going through. And you're not going to get that with, AI bot. You're not going to get that with these traditional sales training methods or these sales methodologies where it's like, you know, Grant Cardone says jab, 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 punch. And I think with SWAT, it's more give, 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 ask, right? Where there's a million ways to splice it, but actually taking time to understand people's problems and then talking about the idea that, if you want to look at sales moralistically, well, if I know I can help you, you've identified a problem within your business that's truly holding you guys back from being able to being capable of obtaining whatever target that it is that you have, I would be doing you a disservice by not at least telling you I can help you solve that problem. And that's a much more palatable way to get your foot in the door than let me tell you how awesome my agency is. Let me tell you how awesome me and my partner are. Let me tell you how all these awesome results for our clients, and never really getting to understand what the emotional anchors are for why people might not be acting on the things, because so much of consulting is sometimes like it's totally obvious what's wrong here, but you, like a doctor prescribing a, diagnosing a patient, you can't provide, you can't get somebody back to a clean bill of health if you don't take the time to truly understand what those mental blocks might be. If you're just throwing, well, we can help you, we can help you have a 30% lift in sales, and this is how we'll do it. You're just throwing more like scatterbrain bullshit into their thinking process. You're not making them feel seen, you're not making them feel heard. And I think what surprises people about you and I a lot is when they do get on a call, we're 20 minutes in and they're like, they still haven't told me like what they do. They still haven't told
Not
me.
only that, but they are avoiding telling me what they do because that's what we do. We
Yeah.
avoid it for a good bunch of the call. I will refuse to tell you what we do.
Yeah. As we wrap this up, I gotta jump to a call with Ali, actually.
Late.
What should be our like key takeaways this week for people to think about? It doesn't even have to be sales or business related, but I think giving people just something to think about that might shift their perspective a little bit.
I have the notes here. By the way, I have them in, ignore the mess. I have them in a cute German military notepad that I got at an event. And you said something. You tell people I like doing coffee chats because they keep me in tune with what's going on in the market. I do wonder if to some extent SDRs, I'm not saying closers, I'm saying SDRs, in order to be more successful, should start seeing themselves as market research specialists. Like, what if you approach outreach as an SDR, like somebody who's trying to find out what's going on in the market, rather than somebody who's going to pitch? That's my sales reflection of the day. Regarding non-sales, I would say take care of your health. Really, it is not worth it. If you need sleep, sleep. Wake up when you need to. If you get your schedule together, learn it the hard way last week. Take care of your health, and then you have all the energy you need to take care of the business. So that's from my side. That's what it is. What about you?
I think the same thing, taking care of yourself ultimately, not just from, longevity purposes. You can live a pretty imbalanced life and still take really good care of your health, but also setting a standard in the company. You as a leader, as a founder, as a CEO, you're setting the standard and the example for how employees live inside of your walls and how they live outside of your walls. And if I come into an office and I see a CEO that's healthy, taking care of himself, hey, this guy is busy as hell. And he's still in great shape. He's still taking care of himself. He's still about the right things. Oh, by the way, he still lives life. He still goes and has fun. He still goes on vacations. What kind of standard does that set? What kind of example does that set compared to I'm just so busy and my health is completely out of whack? And because if you're out of whack as the CEO, well, how can you consciously go to your workforce and tell them that you need to be dialed in, that they need to be on top of things, that they need to be executing relentlessly, as I like to say? You can't. It's going to go in one ear and out the other. And the only people that's going to resonate with are the ones who don't really know any better. So that's my outlook on
I
it.
love this. I think I have the thumbnail for the episode. You said you can live a pretty imbalanced life and still take care of your health. I love
Yeah.
that. As paradoxical as it sounds, that's pure reality. That's like me right now in a nutshell.
No, pretty much both of us.
Good. Listen, you have a call. I'll wrap it up here. People from the present and from the future, thank you for watching. I'll be seeing you next week. We'll be seeing you next week in episode 4 of the Durindal HQ podcast. We're going to start having guests now, by the way. So get ready for that. It's not going to just be weekly with us, it's going to be professionals coming in to talk to us. And yes, stay tuned.
Yeah, it'll be a good time, man. So I'm looking forward to it, brother.
Same, brother. Have a great evening.
Y'all have a good one. See you.
See you.